into pencils now, after some of those washes and gouache over it. Kind of like the first video in the series, but a little more interesting. You see, I'm putting down more stuff. I'm putting down more colored pencils on the paper. I hope you can see it. I think you can, since I'm working in a darker color. Of course, things are subtle, and that you kind of want them to be subtle. Your work, it's like nudging stuff around. Think of it kind of like editing photos in like Lightroom or something. Like you're just playing with little knobs and switches and just trying to make it like really beautiful, really subtle, really captivating. So you're not playing for the long game. You're not trying to go crazy. Hope this is exciting. Hope this is good for people to listen to. Hope they enjoy what I'm doing and what I'm saying. And I would love for myself to have a bigger video presence, a bigger instructive role presence. Even though I'm relatively new at this, I think I can share some things. I can parrot talk what other people have said to me, and I think it's always useful for just a multitude of viewpoints out there. So, I would love for to have a YouTube channel. I have a Periscope, and Periscope is actually the reason why I started thinking about YouTube or doing videos in the first place, because I think it's so cool. I think Periscope is pretty awesome. I admire the people that are willing to do a live show, live broadcast, and then get all those super quick comments that people leave, and you can't read them, and then you're just like, oh, I don't know what they said, and I hope they're not offended, and then you're trying to say what you have to say, and I think it's good for live discussion. I may get into it later. I may do that. Prospect of it freaks me out, to be honest. I'm a scaredy cat. I do not want it to be alive. I want it to be an unresponsive YouTube video. That's what I want to be. But I would like to answer questions. I would like to be there for you and your creative endeavors as much as I possibly can. So I will entertain questions. I do whenever people ask on social media, on Instagram, where I usually hang out. Love typing responses and getting people's feedback and all this stuff, because I learn a ton from people. I hope some people learn from me. But yeah. So send questions. I guess on the bottom of the YouTube. It doesn't matter, anywhere, you know. On Instagram, on the bottom of this YouTube video. Ask me questions that you would like to know the answer of, and if I don't know the answer, I will not answer it. Or I may try to figure out the answer, because that's a good quality to have. Exploratory nature. Probably do a post later, or a video later, letting you know who I am personally, how I came to be an illustrator, my path. I really love Creative Trek and cool podcasts like Sidebar, interview questions and interview illustrators, current illustrators, and do a great job of it. It's awesome to listen to the creators of both those shows. And since none of them have asked me to be on their show, I need to do a little origin story of my own. I may just broadcast my own interviewing myself. Because I am super self-centered like that. I love talking about myself. Talking is really helpful. Dialoguing is more helpful, but talking to someone about things is an excellent way for you to get things that you're thinking about out, things that you're struggling with in your brain out, and for scrutiny from others, from scrutiny for yourself. Helps clear the mind. Okay, an interesting thing is happening on this paper. I went over with this dark pencil, adding the darks in, and now I'm going over with a lighter pencil, and it's kind of counteracting. It's like going lighter, but it's still darker than it was before, so it's still a victory. I'm smoothing it out and making it a little more subtle, like I said before. Building up layers of waxy Prismacolor. Man, Prismacolors are awesome. I really love them. I wouldn't say I'm a colored pencil artist, but I am going to use colored pencils. It's going to be Prismacolors. I guess I'm talking about a little bit of why I'm doing Lord of the Rings tribute pieces, and it's really just my love for the books, the movies, and the genre, and the author. I just want to have a crack at it, you know. There's so many good illustrators that have done stuff like this. Specifically in my what I watched as a younger person in high school was Justin Gerard making his pretty sweet Hobbit series. Oh, those things were awesome. I loved them. I just loved seeing how he worked, and how he translated the book into his own image, and since then, a lot of other people have done that, of course, maybe even before him, like Sam Bosma, another. He's like, oh, he's so good. I just drool over his work all the time. And he did his Hobbit pieces and that kind of thing, and so cool. So I want to have a crack at it. I want to bring my vision to the floor. It's not original subject matter, but it might be in a way. I'm doing a picture of Gandalf sitting. It's not too outrageous, but it's also not maybe not typical. He's usually marching, or he's usually fighting the Balrog, which I would love to depict. But I also like pauses. I also like the ebb and flow of stories. Let's see, move the camera a little bit. Apologize for this light. If it's kind of highlighting some slick parts, it doesn't really translate. All right, I'm gonna darken up this top area, so there's a gradient from this to here, darker to lighter. So that's how this fantasy world works. Some mist gathering around here. But my vision for this piece, for this series, is I wrote about it on my blog, but I'll just ramble on here. I loved I love a lot of things. I realize I said I do love a lot of things. The animated series of The Return of the King and The Hobbit. Not so much the Lord of the Rings. It was called Lord of the Rings, but it was only the Fellowship of the Ring and then the Two Towers, and then it ended. And then they did a completely different thing with The Return of the King and then The Hobbit. But those are so like blown out fantasy. I mean, there's just so much like fantasy. Like there's a lot of bright colors and like those orcs that look like dogs and cats, and really interesting to see visually. A lot of kind of new ideas, I think, and I really appreciate what Peter Jackson did with films. I like we did, love what kind of realism he brought to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I do appreciate that. That's cool, but I kind of want to take it in a different direction. I want to go in a more fantasy, like those films. I just love this kind of storybook feel. Bring it down a little bit. Bring it down to, well, maybe not down to earth, but give some wonder, some blown out colors and some geometric shapes and some more flowing lines, and don't make them all so epic. You make them quaint. I will show you something else that's very influential in this process. These are some book covers of the original, as you can see, the authorized edition of the famous fantasy trilogy. They're very crazy. They're very graphic and storybook kind of feeling. Like it's this kind of very symbolic, and I really like that feel. And I think there's a lot of color pencil work in there. So the flowing nature and the otherworldliness of it. So I kind of want to bring that to my pieces a little bit more. Excuse me. Another thing that influences me and these pieces, I guess, is Mary Grand Prix's work. Hope you all know who she is. She's the illustrator of the Harry Potter books, the first, I think, American edition books. Man, aren't they fantastic? I love those things. I love those covers. Man, I just cannot get over how beautiful they are. And there's see, okay, this is a trouble spot for me because the values are very much the same. So which one do I make more highlighted? I think in my color sketch I had this, he was more highlighted here, but I think I want to, I think he was darker here in the color sketch, and then this was more light, but I think I want to darken this and lighten this. So I'm going to do that. And that is one of those moves, those decisions that you have to make. It's a conscious decision to change entirely one aspect of it. But what I was saying is there's a lot of new Harry Potter covers in the international area, in the American sector. I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. Gouache. The new ones, which are really cool. Love his work, obviously, but I do like hers better in this when used for the Harry Potter covers. I just think she has such a nice feel to her work. And I didn't know this, but she just got a Caldecott Award this year, 2015, for the Noisy Paint Box, I think. Yes, the Noisy Paint Box. That's pretty cool. I'm really excited for her. Just love her work and how much texture there is. I think she uses mainly pastels and maybe color, maybe watercolor under it or something, but her work is just so fantastic, and I just never want those editions of Harry Potter to go out of print because of her work. So I think, you know, you can see little demonstrations of other people's style in your own hand whenever you're working on stuff, and definitely see that here. I think I have a lot of shapes and kind of the feeling of those shapes from her. Obviously not as good, but here's to trying. I don't really have too much else to say that would probably be relevant. I try to get these videos up as soon as possible. I don't know how soon that can take, what all that entails either. I may actually need a friend to help me get a handle on these huge files. I don't know why my files are so big. Can you even tell me? Just shooting on an iPhone 6, and just go to video, and I hit it, and then I just have these huge files. It takes forever for YouTube to load it. I say forever. It's probably a couple hours for one to get on there. So I want to have them all up, and then I'll get them publicly out there. Still not sure if I want him to be lighter or this to be lighter and him darker. I gotta think on that. I gotta think on that real hard. I'm gonna stand up and look at it. I may even, this helps. Standing up and looking and evaluating the whole thing really helps. And I'm going to do that with this camera so that you can evaluate with me and kind of see how it's working, and if that area is really anything I should worry about, because the focal point is his face and the smoke rings, and that's what we're going for. So, what do you think? I still don't know. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. It's good to be dark there in the background. It's not gonna harm it. It's gonna be okay. Some gray in there because I think while there's enough contrast here, there's not that much contrast here if I were to go in a dark blue. So gotta switch it up. I don't know. A little more gray, or a little more like, kind of see it as a little more reddish gray. Warmer gray. I think I've grown very slowly in my color strengths. For college, I mainly worked in big charcoal drawings. I mainly did big charcoal drawings, and that was easier because it was just black and white, and I just wanted to get a big image fast, and so I didn't want to have to worry about color. But after college, I really had to figure out a way to apply color to drawings to be viable in this industry. So I went to a lot of watercolor, and then watercolor gouache, and then photoshopping the heck out of it. Sometimes I just it was like super loose, like watercolors, and then I just mask everything, and then just work magic in Photoshop to make it be what I want it to be. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Oh, yeah, right color. But anyway, I use Photoshop to tweak colors. I used it to figure out kind of what receded, what came out, how to push around colors, how to pick colors, choose colors in Photoshop, and therefore it's really helped me, I think, when I do anything really, thinking about colors, to have that color knowledge of, I can add something here and it will change it. It'll be the right color. I do that in Photoshop, and now I'm enjoying bringing that knowledge and using it elsewhere. I think that this shape may be a little bland. It needs something. This one and this one over here. You see that? These big rocks. I just kind of feel like these have patterns on it. Should I leave them blank? Should I not? Should put some pencil texture on it. We'll see. No, can't see that. You see that? A little bit of blue in there. Everything is pretty blue. I do realize that. Let's see what we can do. Mixing again. Anyway, I'm just going to be doing this for many hours, so check back in later.